Rights, an NGO. I'm part of other NGOs working for human rights in Bahrain. Bahrain Human Rights Monitor, established 3 years ago. It's an independent organization. Our aim is to monitor the situation on Bahrain. We are reporting and analyzing the general situation, political and social issues, and its impact on human rights. So that is mainly my work.
Well, let's get specific here. One of the big human rights organizations outside your country, Human Rights Watch, they are saying that a lot of the injured protesters have been denied medical treatment. They've gone to seek it. They say some of them have actually been beaten, detained, harassed, intimidated. Are you able to corroborate those reports?
In fact, we share the concerns of Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International regarding this kind of issues. But at the same time, we're urging the government of Bahrain to investigate these allegations.
Yeah.
It is the responsibility.
I'm gonna use yours, man. Where is it?
I can find it for you.
Okay, so yeah, record it, bro.
The rights of the people who needs the medical treatment to express their views and even to demonstrate peacefully in Bahrain.
When you say you're urging the government to investigate this, how does that actually work? You go to, do you have a contact in the government you go to? Because, I mean, we're really hearing, the reports we hear is it's the military and security forces, not necessarily people with names that are behind some of these acts.
Yeah, but, well, it's a government. Regardless whether it is Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Justice, or the military, it is a government. We talk to them. We meet with them. We present to them our concerns. We present
the Interior Minister. Who are you meeting with? You have a contact.
We have a contact with Minister of Interior and a Justice Minister. We always talk to them. We hear from them as well. At the same time, we present to them the concerns of international human rights organizations.
And what do they say? Because you go to them and you say, I want you to be aware, we and other groups are finding that protesters are being beaten, detained, harassed, intimidated. What do they say to you?
Well, sometimes they have their answers, and sometimes they promise to provide the answers later on. But what's happening, the demonstration started in Bahrain on the 14th of February. It was a peaceful demonstration for a demand of political reforms in Bahrain. Later on, it turned to be violent, and also this resulted confrontation with the police, blocking the main roads, occupying the main hospitals in the capital of Bahrain. In that time, the government took steps to stop this kind of...
it was a deadly crackdown.
It was.
To take steps is minimizing.
I share with you, it was a deadly, it was bloody as well, but it was a responsibility for the government to return the normal life of the people to the normal. Asking for political reforms or even demonstration, it doesn't mean that you have a right to violate the rights of others. You have to respect the rights of others. I think...
Surely you're not justifying the government's crackdown.
Not at all, no. The government should protect the rights of demonstrators. Even those who acted violence, they have a right for a fair trial. At the same time, to have access to the lawyers and the family. I believe there are several people being arrested. I urging the government to provide them with all their legal rights.
I'm trying to understand the turn of events in Bahrain, because it did seem like these protests started out peacefully. The government let the protests go on in Manama Square, and then all of a sudden there was this crackdown. And then the next thing we know is Saudi troops and Emirati from United Arab Emirates are crossing the border, essentially invading the country. The protesters called it an occupation. What happened?
Exactly. A peaceful demonstration started in Bahrain from major opposition groups. Then the opposition split into two groups. One opposition believed in a dialogue and believed that they can gain their demands through negotiation with the government. But the other group, which was a violent group, they wanted to overthrow the government, and they declared to establish a republic government in Bahrain rather than constitutional monarchy.
But why invite the Saudi troops in? This is what I don't get. The Gulf Cooperation Council, they've never sent troops in against one of their own members.
Well, as the government saying that they felt that there is intervention from foreign forces outside Bahrain, and they needed a support from outside within the GCC countries.
Look, let me try to translate that a little bit, and correct me if I'm wrong. This became a Sunni-Shiite issue. The ruling Sunni elite in Bahrain felt threatened, and Saudi Arabia obviously also felt threatened. So they sent troops in. It was Sunnis against Shiites.
Well, it tend to be discrimination or based on sectarian confrontation between the Sunni and Shia. But there is three main groups in Bahrain society. It is a Sunni group, Shia group, and the royal family. Any changes or political demands should be within the aggregate of these three groups.
Except the Shias are 70% of the population in Bahrain.
Well, the Shia, they are part of the society as well. They have a demand.
70% of it. They're about 3/4 of the society.
I'm not sure whether they are 70 or 60 or 80.
They're a vast majority.
But they are a vast majority. At the same time, they have some demands. It's a legal demands. They have justification for requesting those demands from the government. But this should be in advance, in agreement with the other groups, which is the Sunni and the royal family. Now, the foreign intervention in Bahrain incited one groups against the other groups. That's why it showed that, resulted to be sectarian confrontation.
But then, so did your group, as the president of the Bahraini Human Rights Monitor, did you go to the government and say, what are we sending Saudi troops in? Did you protest that?
We don't care whether they are, it's a Saudi groups or other groups in military in Bahrain. Our concerns is respect of human rights. What the government say that these troops who came from the GCC countries, it is within the agreement between the GCC countries. Our concerns is those troops should not intervene with the internal situation, should not arrest the people, should not intervene within the daily life of the people. And the government guaranteed that they will stay out of the main cities and main roads.
But it was after the Saudi troops came in that we really saw the end of these protests. We haven't heard about them really since.
There is no evidence that the Saudi troops intervened in the daily life.
No, I'm not saying that, but whatever they did or did not do, the protests effectively ended.
Now, in the dialogue, in a sense of protest, the government presented a dialogue as an exit for the crisis, the political crisis.
So they're still talking, in other words, right now.
Well,
there are talks right now with the opposition.
There is a talks, but it is not a real dialogue. There is a discussion between all three groups, the government, Sunnis and Shia, to agree on the main demands and the future situation of Bahrain.
Hassan, we have 2 minutes left, very short time. Iran. No discussion would be complete without it. Saudi Arabia, it's its arch enemy, and Saudi Arabia sees Bahrain as having very common interests. Everyone's scared of Iran and its possible influence.
Well, I believe Iran did not play a constructive role in Bahrain. Iran having a link with those extreme groups of the opposition. This is a fact. This is true. Everybody knows about it.
But not all of them. A lot of those Shias who are protesting say we have nothing to do with them.
Nothing to do with Iran, but there is a minority group who has a link with Iran, and I believe Iran should encourage those groups to participate in political